Now I've managed to study the transforms chapter. It's a very short chapter, and this video will be short as well. We did cover some of it on the dataset and data loaders, but we will just go ahead and talk about this anyway. So here we are importing just some torch necessary stuff, and then what we're doing on this specifically what we're interested here is the two tensor method, which we did talk about, and then this lambda function here. I will go into the detail for this lambda function. So again, just to recap, the two tensor method is doing what we discussed initially as like, I thought I had that open. Let me open that up. So the two tensor method converts the Python image library type of images or NumPy images to tensor, PyTorch tensor, and that's all we need to know at this moment. And now this function here, I will go ahead and read what it does. So lambda transforms apply any user-defined lambda functions, right? So that's something we've defined. And if you don't know what lambda function is, this is like a basic Python syntaxes. You can go and check. Here we define a function to turn the integer into one hot encoded tensor. It first creates a zero tensor of size 10, the number of labels in our dataset, and calls the scatter, which assigns a value 1 on the index given by the label y. So let's go ahead and see what that means. Now the reason it creates a one hot tensor is because we cannot pass a scalar value to neural network, so we need the label in a tensor as well. So to play around with it, I will show you quickly here. So Torch has this library called the function called onehot in this functional module. So torch.nn import functional as f, and then here what I'm doing is I'm asking the method onehot to convert tensor with the number 10 into a one hot tensor. And what all it means is we will have number of 10 zeros, and then whatever the value of this tensor is, that will be flipped to 1, right? So as you can see, everything is 0 except 1. So if we just go ahead and create another one here, f.onehot, and then we just say torch.tensor, and we just do 2, then obviously you can guess what it gives us. So 0, 1, 2, and the third item here, which is the index 2, is flipped to 1. So just like a binary, right? 0 is off and 1 is on. So this is on, therefore it's the number 2. We can get to that value. And if you also look at this, the way they have done it on this this lambda method here, so the reason they have done it is, for example, so what they've done here, let's first talk about what they've done and then we'll go to the reason. Sorry. Torch.zeros 20, so we have 20 zeros, and then we use the scatter method in place operation to change that, and then we use the index number here 7 and then the value 1, and what that does is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, which is the 7th index, 0 starting from 0, and it's flipped that to 1, right? So why are we doing this? Now if you notice here, I gave 10 and it gave me the 11 item with the 10th index being turned on, right? And also we have the 3 item here with the second or the third item and the index 2 being turned on in this tensor, which is the one hot. But what we need is we need consistently the same number of tensor, but we want to then decide where to flip this 1. So for example here 1, and if we have, let's say, multiple tensors, we want to ensure the dimensions remain the same, right? So for example, if we do, we'll just leave that 20 here because we want to keep that same. We'll just do 10 here, and then we'll do 1 on this one, and then let's just do what, 18 on this one, right? So as you can see, I didn't print all of that, so and then here, if we just go ahead and print that, so we should see all now. And the first one was 7, so the 8th in item 1 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, that's turned on, and then so on and so forth. So we have 10, and then we have 1, and we have 18, which is right. So as you can see, like, we are basically converting the label, which is 1 or 8 or 7, to a tensor, a one hot tensor, and that's what one hot tensor means. And that's pretty much it. And I hope you understood the one hot tensor in this video, and I also learned that. So if you learn anything else on this chapter, please feel free to share. But the next chapter is exciting, so we're going to build the neural network, and yeah, let's see how that goes. I think it's a long chapter, so that video will be pretty long, and also I'm very excited to go through that chapter and learn more.